for the sake of time, so far that you have become the chair of public accounts, has there been any committee has there been any MDAs or agencies that your committee has apparently pitched out that has mismanaged the fund of the public? And what consequences or law have they faced so far? If not, what is your committee doing to ensure that they face the law or consequences of mismanaging public funds?
Now, let me say this. First and foremost, a lot of the agents of government don't even appear before our committee, even no invitation. For instance, Minister of Finance, they don't come. That is supposed to be the ministry that is in charge of our treasury. That is supposed to be the ministry that superintends everything that has to do with revenue and expenditure in our country. But when we find certain things about them from reports, we invite them, they don't come. They don't.
So, sir, if they
don't come, then the law says that we can force them to come. And that is certainly where we are now.
Okay.
So, Section 89, you see, about that, then it will, you are embarrassing somebody. If you call the minister, you call the accounting officer in the ministry, the minister of finance is not the minister of finance is not the accounting officer. The private secretary is the accounting officer. If he refuses to come over expenditure that is already consummated, have a right to issue warrant of arrest and bring him to come and answer. Of course, I've spoken with the Senate President about it. I said, okay, yes, bring them. He will sign them and get them arrested. That's the power that we can exercise. But again, when you say it like I'm talking to you now, and it's a public domain, as a president, you should say that you call his servants to say, look, when you are invited to go and give account of what you have done with public money, you are compelled, the president should give them, a matching order that you go and appear before the relevant committees of the Senate, particularly public accounts. That has to do, it's not, nobody comes here, we're not trading with anybody here. The committee is completely appalled by the excesses of some of these appointees of Mr. President, who believe that they are above the law. Many of them, they have started again, they don't want to appear. And this is a government that is on the mantra of anti-corruption. But all the other persons that are in this government are not dirty-minded people who do financial transactions in a manner, of course, that tends to be contradictory to the position of this government. Okay? So, their behavior should be very embarrassing to our country. You can't try this in other climes. If you take public money, you should retire, you should explain what you have done with it. And if there's any fault and somebody calls you to come and explain what has happened, you should be responsible enough to go and explain. But if they are irresponsible and they believe that they can remain and nothing happens, it only means that it shows to you the system works, which is very unfortunate.
Now, sir, before now, I want to believe that you as the chair or your committee has noticed that there are some MDAs or agencies that hasn't been transparent enough. Why haven't you carried out this? Why haven't you carried out this, forcing them or bringing them to come to the committee? Present how they have spent the public fund. Why haven't you carried out this?
If you were the head of the agency, do I come to your house or your office to arrest you as a senator?
I think the politicians.
Can I do it? No. Why? I don't have the powers. But you belong to the other arm of government who executes whatever comes from the legislative arm of government or from the judiciary. A judge that is from the judiciary, which is the other arm of government, does not go out after pronouncing that somebody should be jailed. He doesn't go there to go and open the crinkly door himself and put you in there. It is the executive that will go and arrest the person and put him himself inside the prison or to the correctional center. It's not me, it's not you. So we have our rules. The executive, as you hear it, executes what all the arms of government decide. we have decided that these people are not doing financial transactions in a transparent manner. And this is what we have seen about them. We tell the executive, I don't control the FCC. And our finding is sent back, just like we make laws. Laws we make here, until the president assents, so it goes back to the executive. If he assents to it, it becomes law. If it doesn't, it is brought back. When we believe in our law, the law says that we can even veto it if it doesn't come to third majority. But because of partisan politics here, these ones have not worked recent times. You know that. Since after the year 2000, when of course the National Assembly had to veto the Niger Delta. I mean the NDDC bill, you know, because President Obasanjo refused to assent to it, and they brought it back and they vetoed it. National Assembly passed it into law with total majority. But in that time we have not had such a thing. Okay? So you can see that the implementation of our recommendations, you understand what I'm saying, or our resolutions, the implementation is in the domain of the executive. Our resolutions do not carry any element of compulsion. It is they that will make it compulsory. Just like the pronouncement of a trial judge in the court will have no effect if the executive does not execute it. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
So you must know the way the three arms of government work. What we do in the legislative arm, what they do in the judiciary, it is this executive that must implement it. So when we invite them, the only thing that the law, the constitution allows us to do is what I was just telling you in section 89, to say you can issue a warrant of arrest to compel the fellow to appear. Look at it. This is it, section 89. Look at it. A summons or warrant issued under this may be served or executed by any other member of the Nigerian police force, or by any person authorized in that behalf by the President of Senate or the Speaker of the House of Representatives as the case may require. So if he issues a warrant of arrest, I've invited maybe somebody to appear before us. Once, twice, the opting time the person has refused to come. I will tell the Senate President who signs a warrant of arrest. So the President is not going to leave his office, he's going to send it to the Inspector General of Police for that person. You can see execution again, it goes back. Because the Inspector General of Police is under the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, who is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So when you are saying, oh, what did you do? The best I can do is to sign the warrant of arrest. Prescribe it to the State President, he signs it. The State President will not leave his office and carry the army of the National Assembly. The National Assembly does not have an army. So you say, okay, Inspector General, this is warrant of arrest I sign. Or anybody that he believes that can ask them, please arrest this person and pray. But we have not seen much of that. We threaten them, but they all know that, after a while.
So if the threat is not good enough, I think the arts should do better.
You see, let me tell you, is it not the same thing, constitution that you see in other clients that people respect?
Okay, no, sir. This brings about the implementation of budget in Nigeria. We know that Nigeria is way back when it comes to implementations. Now, what do you think can be done to resolve this issue of implementing the budget or implementations of law?
Number one, let us first face the facts. Implementation of budget is an intention. Oh, we have within the ambit of the resources we have, we want to use it for this, we want to use it for this, we want to use it for this. And we put other different budget subheads. Recurrent expenditure, capital expenditure. Under recurrent, we have personnel cost, and then we have overhead. Okay, and all these ones. The personnel cost is to meet up with those as I implement on the federal government. Okay, all the institutions are on the federal government. Okay, and then overhead is to the one that you use for the day-to-day running of our NDAs. The capital is still supposed to be, to be able to, prosecute new projects and ongoing capital projects. Now, when the funds are not enough, implementation will be difficult. So the first hindrance to budget implementation is availability of funds. You have said it, I intend to buy papers, buy cars, buy this, buy that. It's still a wish. It's the amount of money you have that will now decide what you are able to buy. So the first impediment to budget implementation is the availability of revenue to be able to drive it. So that's why we say budget is made of two sides, revenue side and expenditure. You can only expend if the revenue has come in. When there is no revenue, you cannot. More so now, when our revenue is down, we don't have enough revenue to be able to pursue our expenditure. There's a gap, there's a deficit. What we get and what we want to spend, they are miles apart. What we wanted to get, maybe about 10 trillion, we want to spend 20 trillion, then which means we are budgeting for 10 trillion that we do not have yet. So what is the hindrance to budget implementation? Number one is availability of revenue to be able to drive expenditure. Okay, that's number one. Then again, anything you want to do, you are driven by policies. The objective you want to do, the objective of development. That's why I say the Constitution, fundamental objectives and the ethical principles of state policy. It's a chapter in our Constitution, second chapter. What that one means, objective of providing school, objective of agriculture, objective of education, providing education, just like that. These are objectives driven by policies. The state will say these are policy on this. It is the money, what you have, that you deploy to achieve those. Okay? And if those policies are equally not consistent, you want to do, for instance, the policy is education 6334. We're going to put money into primary school for 6 years. We're going to put money into 3 years for junior secondary school, then another 3 years for senior secondary school, 4 years university. Well, that is a policy on education. This is what we want to do. Then, as you are doing it, midway, somebody comes to say, no, we want to do it 664, whatever it is. You have changed the policy. So, policy somersaults. Policy change is another impediment. We are going to a transition. The budget for 2023, the present government, APC, federal government of Buhari, can only take it up to May 29th. Don't just say 1st of June is over. 1st of June, another president takes over. It is possible that the idea behind this budget for this year, another president that comes, he will have a different idea. So this whole thing changes. So implementation of this budget will be whatever happens when government changes. If policy will change, it only means the implementation of the budget will be affected. Are you hearing me now? So policy is another thing that affects our budget. Tell the corruption affects our budget. You see, because the capital component of this budget, we are already completely inundated in Nigeria that majority of our capital spending, we don't pass through procurement process that is transparent, that ensures value for money, because we don't even conduct performance audits. Performance audit means audits that guarantees value for money. Most of our roads, you want to build a road, many of them, let us see the BOQ. We are going to put caps. We are going to give 6 inches of asphalt. They over-invoice it, they'll put that one, they want 2 inches of asphalt. And 2 rainy seasons, you already have the potholes on the road. So what have you achieved with the money that you are going to road construction? That's why I see our designs, our construction, they are not good enough. So budget implementation to ensure corruption and subversion of our existing acts, procurement and the rest, that will guarantee proper utilization of public funds. They are not guaranteed. So there are too many things. And again, the budget that we put in place, what is our priority? What are our priorities? Today, we are still using our money, 70% of our budget, to do recurrent. What is recurrent? Personnel cost and overhead for agencies. How to run MDAs. Overhead. Money you give to them for the day to do on your MDAs. Buying vehicles. Or maintaining vehicles. Buying diesel. Cleaning. All those things. Alright? Office furniture. And the rest. So, those are equally impediments. Alright? Because the way we appropriate our resources for, recurrence and capital, they are not right. Because they do not benefit the greater majority of our people.
Okay, now distinguish for the sake of time. Let me come in here. When you talk about, I heard you spoke about policy when it comes to the implementation of the budget. Can the government not act around the revenue of what we have, maybe in terms of, you say it varies with time? Can't it be act around our revenue to manage this budget?
This is not possible.
Also, how is it?
Well, we say, sew your clothes according to your clothes. The revenue you have, use it. Don't borrow. That's what you are saying. Act within what your revenue, what you have. What the country needs. What this country needs. Again, the economists will tell you this. You need to inflate your economy. Pump money into it so that you can inflate it. These are things here possible. But when you go and borrow money and pour it in, and the money again is not utilized, that's what our problem is. Because this money we are borrowing, the only sensible thing to do is to use it to develop areas that can really help our economy grow. Use it for infrastructure, rail lines, airports, and all of roads, so that people who are involved in agricultural activities can move their products here and there. Okay? But when you do not use the money for such things and you are using it to pay salaries, you are not putting into regenerative ventures, what can bring money back, it's gone. You are not investing in agriculture, you are not investing in power. Do you know how many persons today who are tailors, who are mechanics, who are depending on power? If power is not there, what makes the submission is the submission of all our individual small economies that make up the economy. What I do to put in that earns me money, earns me livelihood. What you do, what all of us do, is what we put together. If my own is down, why? No power. Your own is down, why? No power. You repair iron, electric iron. Maybe I'm a tailor where I need power to run my machines. If all our economic activities are hampered because there's no power, to really means the economy of the country cannot go up. So what we are doing is use that money to provide power so that all our activities too can add up in reflecting our economy. I'm saying, the money you borrow, you need to really pump your money so that you need to develop your infrastructure. Those power, road, schools, hospitals, and all of that, they will inflate because if you have good hospitals, the wellness of the people will make the country healthy. Will make it a wealthy nation. So if our people really, they can spend the money, the purpose for which they are meant, then of course we don't want to inflate the economy. We want to boost our economy. We want to go into production. As a problem, is not consumption. If we can provide those things by borrowing money After a while, we will be self-sufficient, we have. But when we will borrow the money and pour it to the drain pipe, it's gone. So we are just amassing debts for generations yet unborn.
Okay, no, sir, we don't have so much time on our side, so I believe some other time we're going to talk about that. But before we can come to the end of this program, as a PDP loyalist, it's obvious that the crisis between your candidates and Nyesom Wike hasn't come to an end. What is the fate of PDP come 2023 with all this crisis? And is there anything your party is doing to put things in place?
Let me tell you, any of these squabbles you see within the political system, they are not unexpected. Why? You have the political party is a harbinger of the good and bad of everybody's inside. This constitution says that everybody has a right to belong to a party. You cannot deprive anybody. So when I'm saying you have different people and we all have different nuances. So it's not unexpected, they are quarreling. It will resolve itself. All these things that you see, people, me, I'm quarreling. But I know with time, all these things will resolve. But the PDP is still where we all are. And again, it is out of the maturity and the age of the party. It tells you the resilience of the party. The presidential candidate is going around campaigning. Governor Wike yesterday launched his own campaign council, Rivers State, for PDP candidates. He didn't launch for other parties. For PDP to win. So if he's doing his own, is he not promoting PDP in the states? The people that we vote, he has not told anybody there, don't vote for PDP presidential candidate. He has not said so. So what I'm saying, all these issues will be resolved with time. Well, at least 5 months ahead of us before election, they will be resolved and PDP will win the presidential election. Can I show you? PDP will win the presidential election. All the indices you can measure, particularly the ones that concern the people who will determine it, they are pointing in the direction of PDP. People want a change. If I were not even a politician, I want a change. Why would I stay in one system that is not working, that is not rewarding me? Assuming the system was even working, to the highest, I will still change it because there's still room for improvement. More so when this one body is down and out. But there is Nigeria that is enjoying this country as to what government provides in terms of abundance of life for our citizens. Nobody. Even the rich also cry in circumstances. Talk less of the greater majority of our people who cannot put food on their table. Misery index has gone up. Poverty up. Insecurity up. Unemployment up. Value of our currency deeply down at the valley. Somebody is telling you, don't worry. What do you want? You want to die first? Before you cause a change? You don't need to be told. And the only direction to look at, PDP has a better experience. That's the true governance. And when you see somebody who is making efforts to try to rewrite his name, let me just have an opportunity to serve this country and turn things around. You can see it in the person and the spirit and the aura around particular worker. He wants the opportunity to be able to prove. And the way he talks, he talks out of experience. Of all of them, is the one that is even talking out of experience. Not when I get there, we learn. He's talking about experience. He has been there, as a state governor briefly, and the vice president, and all sorts of things there. He knows this country across line. From the east to the west, from the south to the north, Atiku knows this country. So he is less likely to make mistake. The mistake we made with Buhari I want to tell you, we were in the same party with the NPP. We thought, oh, he really had the steam to govern this country. But he's somebody who takes people, he trusts people around him so much. But if he looks deeply, he will know that all of them, you are just deceiving him. They are pretenders. And he dealt with a lot of people that are mediocres, who didn't know or who do not know the job. He has not dealt with the highest quality of people that would have assisted him in his office. So the president is as wise as all his advisors put together. Or a governor as well as all the commissioners, all the ministers, all of them put together. That would have made the president to say this or it is. He has a lot of people who do not know what it takes to govern well. Right? And there are a lot of them. And the only person who did he put the performance yardstick, setting objective for them, and say this is how it's going to help. This is what we expect of you as intervals in terms of performance. We didn't really see it. So, as a man, as a person, transparent is good, but he didn't get the real support. The support to rule this country the way it's supposed to be ruled. He had the best of intentions, but the executions were all very poor. And they were deceiving him that all is well, all is well. Don't mind those people talking there. You know they're against our party, they're against you. But if only he had another opportunity of taking a peep on his own to see what was really going on, I think Nigeria would have been better. He has tried to do a whole lot, but the limitation is that the bad people around him, they didn't allow him to achieve anything, that would have put his name in gold. He has tried his best, tried to revive some of those things in intention, but